And with us now on this Memorial Day, Newsmax Prime host J.D. Hayworth. J.D., it's great to be with you.
It is good to be here on the desk with you. Thanks very much.
Nice tie today, very appropriate.
Miss Mary picks out the right tie. Earlier this morning, we were at a Memorial Day service, and it was good to see hundreds of people out to remember the fallen today.
Yeah, just a moment or two of silence, as we heard two of our guests mention earlier, is appropriate remembrance. Wanted to talk to you also, J.D., some news happening way over on the other side of the world, but it could be perhaps a preview of what we might see here in the very near future. Australian Prime Minister Tony Abbott talking about terrorism, appointing two new high-level positions on his government as well, and talking about ways Australia is now having to deal with its migrant problem. What do you think?
Well, Australia has long been, as part of the coalition and one of the leading U.S. allies, post 9/11. I can recall visiting down under and seeing the leadership at that point in time offering ads saying, if you say something, in that kind of down under mode. But as you see right here, he's talking about stopping boats coming in, Operation Sovereign Borders, and the challenge for Australia as a continent surrounded by water, it is daunting, but he has people in place to deal with this, and the reality is the Australians, and I think Tony Abbott, is very serious about border security, and you will note that if you've ever visited Australia, they are incredibly serious about what you bring with you.
Well, I know a number of my friends who studied abroad there in college and loved it so much they wanted to stay and get a job, but found it very difficult because of the rules in Australia.
Well, the Australians are interesting people, and they certainly are a staunch ally, and I think that we would do well to follow the lead of Tony Abbott.
You see a clear him able to vocalize a clear vision on where he wants to take his country on this issue, and you don't see that as much.
Well, I think while so many Republican aspirants to the presidency would love to be called Reagan-esque, I think that Tony Abbott is a kind of interesting mixture of Reagan and Thatcher down under. I really think as a conservative, as a communicator, and as someone who has clear objectives, he is among the best in the world at leadership.
All right, let's talk about politics closer here to home. John Kasich, a constant reoccurring topic for our discussion here. Let's take a listen to what the Ohio governor had to say on the Sunday shows over the weekend.
John, I'm the most experienced in the field with being an executive running a big state like Ohio, dealing with problems like Cleveland, at the same time being in Congress, balancing the budget.
If you're not the nominee, you're going to be looked at as a possible vice presidential candidate.
Forget it.
Would you do it?
Forget it.
No way?
Forget it,
no
John.
Way?
I don't play for second.
I'm going to save this tape, Governor Kasich, and we'll be back when it all happens. Thank you very much.
Don't count me out, John.
All right, nobody wants to say that they'd be happy with a vice presidential nomination, but you know, if he was offered, he'd probably take it.
Well, that's a long way between now and what happens, ironically, in Cleveland with
Was that
Republicans.
inappropriate, though, for him to automatically kind of discount?
No, if you are running for president of the United States, you don't hedge your bets, especially if you're thinking and preparing to go to major donors saying, I'm getting ready to run. You're not going, well, you know, I'm going to...
No. I mean, the person that was interviewing him.
Oh,
was that wrong to discredit him and say, you know, come on, you take vice president?
That's every pundit's favorite question for a presidential candidate, because somebody's going to have to be wrong. Somebody's going to have to be the vice president.
And it's always fun to have the video.
But like you said, no one's going to say, well, yeah, if I didn't get it, I'd settle for a second
At this
place.
point in time, nobody who is running for the presidency even wants to think about the number 2 spot. Kasich is right in terms of his resume. I served with him in Congress. Ironically, little known fact, Kasich was elected in '82, the only Republican pickup that year, defeating a Democrat incumbent. He was John McCain's campaign manager when McCain was elected as president of the freshman Republican class in '82. And then by the time I got to Congress, he was chairman of the Budget Committee, 4 successive balanced budgets that he authored. Then, of course, was in business and on the tube at Fox News, and now in his second term as a remarkably popular governor in Ohio. He has a very impressive resume.
I'm sure we'll hear more from Governor Kasich.
You do, and you have a very popular show, Newsmax Prime.
That's right, and we're looking forward to having John on. He's not on tonight, though. With Memorial Day, we've got some interesting discussion. Ellis Hinniken on the left, Larry Elder on the right, some of the items into news. Brandon Webb, who is a U.S. Navy SEAL, and the mother of Mark Lee, the fallen SEAL in Iraq. Debbie Lee will be with us. It's a big show, 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific.
Always good to have you, J.D.